Disclaimer: the information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports
Recording is frozen, Rick?
That's correct. I'm just trying to get it to restart here.
Maybe we'll just restart it. Sometimes this has happened to me. Oh, you have it? On the disclaimer, I play it at the beginning of the meeting. It works fine. I go to play it at the end of the meeting and it doesn't work. I have to close it and go back into a file and find another copy of it, or the same copy, and restart it.
Yes, I'm going to have to do that, so bear with me a second here. Okay, we'll try it again.
Supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
It's time for change to move into the real work of the universe. And it's time to understand that we use the matter state to reach the level of understanding of the soul of the man. Now you understand maybe why the Creator has sent his messengers in the name of whatever you have had. Is that they bring the ears, that it can be used when the time of the Messiah comes. They can teach the soul and the message, not to oppose, but by them understanding through those who have become messiahs to give from their souls to these to elevate, the job is made easy. The school is there and the students are devotedly there. Then there won't be any fight between what they call the Muslims and the Christians. The lamb and the lion will eat and sleep in the same nest. The Christians and the Muslims will sleep and pray in the mosque and in the same church in the name of their souls, not in the name of religion that is used to create so much conflict for the benefit of those who were the hyperactive children. The time has come, the time of change is here. And as I said, my wish is my command. If it's your wish to see peace, path of peace is laid very clearly. It's the soul of the collective awareness by giving will create that position of change. No other thing. There is no pen in the soul of the man. And I'm sure once you go into the universal community, you will never see anything written but the balance of the fields of the soul of the existence. Try to be humble enough not to and you possess. Otherwise, you'll fall in the same path of the church and the mosque. This is what we promised, and this is what we have delivered. We have to understand the operation of the soul, and we have to understand the soul of the man is a star in the cosmos of the universe. If we compare the soul of the man and many of us, 7 billion in one collection, Earth is like a galaxy with so many stars. When we look in the depth of the universe, we see galaxies with hundreds of millions of stars in it. So is the planet Earth. It carries 7 billion beautiful stars, which are the soul of the man. Carries with it soul of so many trillions of animals, plants, and everything else. So if you look, when someone who does not see the physicality of the earth and its content, what do they see? They see a galaxy with so many beautiful lights shining, each one according to their strength, each one according to their position. An infant has a beautiful soul, so has the old man. To those who do not see the physical dimension of this planet, but they see the strength of the field, we are clusters of stars. The human race, every single soul, no one from a distance sees that's the soul of a fisherman, that's the soul of the cosmologist, that's the soul of a president. They all shine irrespective of the physicality. This is the magic. This is what the new science has to bring to man. When we look to our soul, we see nothing but a star in the other souls. And this is the break. This is the understanding. This is what all these teachings are about. Coming to mature to the next level, to understand in the deep space, the universe is the oyster for those souls who serve. Then man is ready to go into space. Then man is ready to become part of the universal community which has been promised. I never promised you heaven. I always promised you the elevation of the man to join the family. And now you have the key. It's you who has to open the door to understand, if I can raise the soul of these people or millions of other souls, that the physical life on this planet changes, then I'm worthy to be part of the universal community, to be there to serve, to expand, to be there to be part, that in the cycle of life of universe, I become, in being part, I become part of the totality. When man reaches that point, a new dimension in the strength of the soul of the man will appear, which is beyond imagination of understanding of the physical life. It's the gate to the opening of the new life in a new dimension, which is beyond imagination of what you might call a new beginning, a new cycle, which that cycle carries with itself the origin of the creation of life in the universe and in the universe. It's the elevation of the soul to serve become the key, not a throne of the physical life. The time is right. The time has come for the man to go through this process.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 362nd One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, here on Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name's Rick Crammond, and I will be host once again in this continuous weekly series of workshops. And once again, we have the pleasure and honor of being joined with members and support members of the Universal Council, who will be presenting today's show. And let me get that ready. I don't have it ready, just bear with me a second here. Okay. Now we will have it ready. Okay, let's begin.
Hello, everyone. This is Mosfek, representing Bengali language as a Universal Council board member. So we are back again in our One Nation, One Planet, One Race meeting, once again on Tuesday. And so things are developing, as we are all noticing, across the planet. People across the planet, they're uniting in the sense that they're finding their new position the new position that they are, and an image of the creator. And this realization is coming bit by bit, but it is there. As we are noticing from the east to the west, the governments are being questioned and they're being asked to serve. So this is a common thing that is evolving, but it is just a beginning step of what is to come, which is our communication. At this point, our communication is within the planet, using the languages one way or another to link up. But we are all sensing, in a way, the coming events, the events that where we, as universal beings, participate in the communication, which is step beyond the languages that we use here. And this is what this, in a way, this meeting is all about, the universal communication method. You know, the universal communication method using our soul. And we are using a device at this moment for this meeting. All of us are. But we are increasingly becoming open to the idea that we have the potential to communicate ourselves without the device. And in plasma science, we talk about these things. And it's not restricted to just another being or the living form that we are assuming here. Here, there is no implant and devices put in our body or on any of these things. We can communicate with other beings naturally. And this possibility essentially magnifies what we are starting to do on this planet, uniting as one nation, one planet, one race. But as our communication develops, this one race becomes part of this one universe. So we can add one more line, one universe. And perhaps it goes even further. So let us open up to this possibility that we are all capable of it. It's not we can, we are all capable of it. And now that we are aware of it and starting to see examples of how it can be done, and we have examples of it in many different ways outside of Keshe Foundation as well. Some people have natural abilities which they're born with. And in spite of all the conditioning and programming and all those things that we have experienced over the last several thousand years, is not holding these people up. So knowing that these examples exist, knowing that we are in a position, especially with the application of plasma science, to develop it and then use it. You know, an interesting event that happened as we were planning this meeting. So I was thinking, I usually don't do the introduction, but I was thinking maybe tomorrow would be a good time to do an introduction. And I was thinking about it, and I was not verbalizing any of it. So one of the members of the Universal Council said, well, would you like to speak tomorrow? So the communication is possible, it's doable, and it's being done. We get a hunch, we get a feeling that, yeah, we should do this, we can do this. So as our horizon open up, we can, and we have evidence of it all over the place, that we are communicating. Although because of our various sort of pedagogic learning, we are not inclined to believe in it or rely on it. But as we develop the trust that it is possible, can we not talk to beings that are far away, in the sense that within the beyond the confine of this planet, and start our dialogue of what some people in science fiction call the first contact. The contact has already been done, but it's make the contact as one nation, one planet, one race, so that we all do it, we all participate in it. And with the development of the methods of traveling across the universe, I mean, it's natural that we do these kind of things. And there are a lot of friends, life forms of different kinds on this planet who would be happy, and perhaps some of them are as developed in capacity on this planet or in this planet or above this planet, that we can communicate and have friendship and learn things from them and appreciate and develop an understanding and love for their taste, their ways of being, and everything else. And the possibility and the opportunities is enormous. And this communication capacity can start at home within this one nation, one planet, one race. And this race includes not just human beings, but others. Some we know, some we are not as well aware of. But nevertheless, as we open up our communication, they become visible, or they become noticeable through the eye of our inner being, or the soul. So it's a wonderful opportunity. And the important thing here is that we open up to it, and then we practice being communicative with other beings, and share our world with theirs, and come to know and enjoy their world. For there are many worlds out there. I'm not talking about physical world, but worlds of thoughts, ideas, and intelligence, and development. So let's join this new effort. And plasma science, as we all know, is there to give us all the assistance we need, for it is designed for developing our capacities. And let's do it. Thank you very much.
Next, we have the wishes, and just remind our audience that we have a full minute of silence for reflection of each of the wishes.
Thank you, my dearest. Thank you so much. Thank you, beautiful soul. The wishes always in the beauty of totality. We give through our souls for peace forever, for all souls in existence, welcoming the new union of all nations with no border as one nation, one planet, one race. We are present. Thank you.
Hey, Shweta, this is yours, I think, the one that, sorry.
This
Ernest?
one,
Yes. Hello. We, the Universal Council, wish a day comes that peace, love, equality, and fraternity replace war, killing, and prejudices.
we are present.
Mosfek.
Yeah. We elevate the souls of all human beings on this planet as they gain the capacity to communicate with every being in the universe and Unicode.
We are present.
With the UC Universal Council, give from our soul to world readers to accept the Keshe plasma science and technology for all the people to heal the world and bring peace upon use as promised by your Creator through the prophets, of which is our command.
Reactor.
One moment, Stefania, you have one invitation, yes?
Yes. I was just waiting for the time because I didn't know. Yes, I have. Thank you so much, Lisbeth.
Yes, thank you.
I'm Stefania, and I'm representing the Italian language. And we just want to remind people that the application for becoming Universal Council is open to everyone who it's feel the need to take this place. So as you know, we always have Universal Council people that they will leave because when they reach after 60, the end of 60, so when they take 61-year age, they will have to leave. So we have a space that are available for anyone who are listening and you feel inside yourself that you would like to serve this place, you can apply the position. So it's very important that we just filling up a space, and we are like a vassal that we serve in this position, and it's not forever. So before or later, then you leave and somebody else take a place instead of you. So if you would like to, if you feel like you drawn to take this position, you can always contact the Keshe Foundation. Lisbeth, which is the best way for anyone who would like to become Universal Council member if they feel in their heart they want to be or take this position? Which is the best?
The first time you ask your soul, and your soul answered it you the correct answers is you time for put at the position to serve to the others. And next step is going to the web page, the Keshe Foundation, and applying online. And be part of that is you sign the treat of peace to the Keshe Foundation offered to you. But it's an online in Keshe Foundation. I don't know, Rick, have one now, that page. It's in Keshe Foundation.
Do they can write to info@keshe.foundation? Will be okay?
No, not really. No. And in Keshe Foundation webpage, official webpage, I have part with the Universal Council, and that is application. You apply this and wait a long time for answer because, of course, need review all your application, all about you, because it's a big compromise with the humanity and universal community.
Yes, yes. So people, they have to just go into the Keshe Foundation website, and there they will find a section where they will find the application for to apply for the Universal Council, a member. Yes, the waiting list. No, tell me, Rick, please.
Can we get someone to try the Keshe Foundation site? I am not able to access it right now. It says forbidden. You don't have permission to access this resource. So I wonder if it's down right now, or is it available for others? So if
I've
someone,
seen that message before too.
I can try as well.
Yeah.
As well. 1 second.
Maybe it's just here locally, or
And Stefania, is this some sort of transitional position? In other words, if I was 30 years old and I decided to be a Universal Council member, my soul led me in that direction, would I stay until I was 60 years old? I thought Mr. Keshe said there was a term of about 5 years, or reaching the age of 60, whichever comes first. Is that correct?
Okay, the 5 years, I didn't know. But definitely it's from my understanding, definitely they would like young people to be part of it, of become Universal Council. So that's why I know that there is this limit that after 60, you leave the space to the youngest because they have more energy. They are the one who driving the future. So who's getting older usually get the going to the second seat. To be
And
just
then
five years, I didn't know, because maybe I'm run out my time then.
and then you just become sort of a Universal Council supporter if it befits you.
Yes.
You've, as in a way, you've become more experienced to advise the new Universal Council members, as I understand it.
Yes, yeah. Usually people who become Universal Council, when they step down, they become Universal Council supporter. So you will be able to attend the meetings. So usually with the Universal Council, we have one meeting a week, and we have one meeting a week with Universal Council supporter, and there we decide what is best for example, the session of today. Usually it's organized by Universal Council supporter. If any knowledge seeker wants to, because we have to keep the line of communication going. So if a Universal Council, if a knowledge seeker has got any needs of their community, that's why here in this workshop, at the end, we have the needs of the community. So if anyone has got any needs who wants to be supported with, or anything he wants to present, for example, on the public teaching of today, they can brought to their language group, to their Universal Council supporter, and they will, in the meeting with the UC, the Universal Council member, they will accommodate the person needs. So they will, so everyone can present anything they feel like is useful for everyone in this workshop. Yes.
I think the link is now in the chat, and it does work. I think we've had a couple confirmations of it.
yeah, I'm finding that it's working in my Chrome browser, but it's not working in my Safari browser. It refuses to load, which is very strange. It's like Google's not allowing it or something. But I'm just trying to Google search for Keshe Foundation, see if it comes up with the link.
I have to look about the 5 years because I joined very close to the beginning. So now I'm nearly 9 years. So I'm well over the 5 years. So
Wow, I have it
have to
blocked
check.
on.
Have to
I have
check.
Keshe Foundation blocked on both the keshefoundation.org and on Keshe.foundation. That's very.
But
I've
the
seen that.
suggestion,
Yeah.
but the suggestion that Stefania write first to the info is okay. It's good suggestion.
And I'm
Info
on
arroba.
iPad,
Yeah.
Rick, so I must be on the Safari too, right?
Generally, if you have a Mac, that's what the default is.
It took me there.
Let me share. I've got the Chrome set up here. We can have a look at it.
I think that's happened to me on the Keshe Foundation wiki. It said the same thing. I didn't have access or wasn't allowed access to the page a couple of different times. It may be another site, but it's happened before, yes.
So this is what comes up when you go to the Keshe Foundation site and go to Home, or sorry, About, which is next to Home. Go to Universal Council, and we get the information on the Universal Council, the charter and mandate, etc. And let me see here. I think it's down toward the bottom here. How to support the Universal Council. There is a form, contact form, and you can send a message there.
And also, it's not necessary that you become a Universal Council member. You can sign up. There's an unlimited amount of positions for Universal Council supporters within the Keshe Foundation.
Right, and you'd use that same form, I guess, to sign up for that as well, correct?
Yes, it's important to have many supporters to the all communities, because you know your community, your presence all the time when in your community, and you like a bridge with the Universal Council and the Keshe Foundation with your community. Thank you.
All right, so I think we got that now. I'll have to work on the website thing in the background. I think it must be just me, my local system, not universal, but hopefully. Okay, we'll
Hello.
go back to our presentation here.
Thank you.
Just to add something, for those who
Thank you,
really wish,
Thank you. Thank you, Thank you, Stefania. Thank you, Mark. Please join the Universal School.
Well, we can't quite hear.
You cannot hear me now? Now? Now you can hear me?
I think so,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't think she was able to hear Mernaz talking.
Oh, no, right.
so
Now? Okay.
just a small thing added to those who want to, who have this desire in their soul, not heart, soul, something which drives them to serve their language. They have some empathy for people of their own language, and that it is a responsibility, and the soul has to take and accept this. It's not just a position because I like to do it. My soul has to accept, and it is for serving our language community wherever they are. And then of course, as we are all one planet, one nation, the whole humanity, but it needs a spiritual work, it needs our heart, it needs our whatever noble we have, we put it there to serve. And I'm very proud. I knew I have to do it, and I am supporter of Universal Council, and I'm very happy about that because Universal Council, for me, when I applied for it, I thought it's my soul didn't accept to be Universal Council, but my soul accepts to be Universal Council support. So that's to say that we do what we can in the level of soul, accept it. And the important thing, it's just the ship, and everybody plays a little bit to make it running and get to the destination. Thank you.
I think that's an important point, Mernaz. As Mr. Keshe said, we don't solicit for Universal Council members or supporters, and we're not soliciting here. We're just showing you, if your soul leads you in that direction, where you can go and complete the process.
Thank you, Mark. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Thank you for your beautiful, beautiful words. Thank you, Mehran, my dear. And please do join as Universal Souls. We are all. This is our place, the place of love, dignity, peace, and all that is needed. So please do join and fulfill the need of this moment for you and for all humanity. And it is very needed now. Thank you. And I welcome everyone to join me in the join the soul of man with the soul of physicality to speak. I'm sorry, to speak by speaking these words in this moment. I love you, my soul. I love you, my soul. I live you and I love with you. And I adore you as a timeless true son. I'm ready. Beautiful. Always see this. Thank you. Thank you. Salam namaste. Salam namaste. Salute, dear beautiful. Shashwat pranam. Thank you. Now we can go to the next slide. Here is the connection of all of us, always so simple. And I will do this connection today in Bengali language. And please do connect, as we are always connected. Just we always forget that we are part of the Creator. Always will be, even we know in the knowingness or not knowingness. So, so I will say, please do join in the soul connection. Join, connect with each other, and I will start from now. And the silence is for 3 minutes to elevate all the souls, my dear. And I will start with saying in Bengali, I সবাইকে নমস্কার, সবাইকে শাশ্বত প্রণাম, সবাইকে আসসালামু আলাইকুম, সবাইকে স্যালুট। আর সবাইকে আমি হৃদয় দিয়ে অভিনন্দন জানাই আজকে এখানে প্রস্তুত থাকার জন্য। আর আমি সবাইকে এই বলি, আজ আমরা সবার আত্মার উন্নয়ন করি, প্রত্যেকটা জীবাত্মার আত্মার উন্নয়ন করি ভালোবাসায়, শান্তিতে। আর এই নিয়ে সবাই একজুট হয়ে এক দুজনকে জানাই যে আমরা এটা করতে পারি, এটা আমাদের কাবিলিয়ত বলা যায়। আর এটাও বলতে পারি যে আমাদের শাশ্বত স্বরূপ, কালান্তরীণ শাশ্বত স্বরূপকে আমরা বুঝতে পেরেছি, আর সেই নিয়েই আমরা আজ এখানে প্রস্তুত সবাই ভালোবাসা নিয়ে আর আত্মার উন্নয়ন করার জন্য, যেটা এখনের সময় খুবই দরকার। আর এক দুজনকে চেনা আত্মার আত্মার পর্যায়ে। তো আমাদের আত্মার উন্নয়নের আহ মোমেন্টটা, মুহূর্তটা, মুহূর্ত বলা যায়, সময় তো বলবো না, মুহূর্তই বলবো। এই এখন আহ আহ, আকার নেবে। তো আমি প্রস্তুত হলাম 3 মিনিটের জন্য। এই আহ শান্তি ভাবটা থাকবে সবার আত্মার উন্নয়নের জন্য, প্রত্যেক জীবাত্মার জন্য। এই আর এই আত্মার উন্নয়ন এখন আরম্ভ হলো। Thank you, my dear beautiful souls. I apologize if the sound has not came properly. I apologize for that. But again, welcome. Salam, namaste, Shashwat Pranam, Salam Alaikum. Thank you.
I'd just like to mention that I did get the Keshe Foundation site to come up on Safari now, on my browser Safari. And if others are having that trouble, you can try going into the Safari browser settings, into the privacy section, and go to Manage Website Data, and just remove the data for the Keshe Foundation site. And then, like magic, it opens perfectly fine now. So it may be just a local condition on your computer that perhaps some other site stuck something in there that made it so it won't open. Something malicious, but once you just erase or remove the data, it all works out fine. So just wanted to put that in as a reminder for those who are having trouble. Thank you.
The Universal Council and all of us, the Keshe Foundation family and Universal family, is in unifying at the soul level every time and every day at 9 p.m. CET to elevate the soul of the leaders to achieve the permanent and lasting peace as part of the soul of peace and totality. Every night of European time at 9 o'clock, we are all zoomed in our soul to wish the whole humanity peace and the ability to utilize the plasma technology to feed for energy, for medication, for transport, for covering themselves as a roof, all that they need. And that's our wish and that's our command. And we want you to join with us. At 9 o'clock, you calm yourself, you breathe tranquility, you breathe long breath, you keep it a while and then blow out the breath. You keep it and then you inspire. After a while, your breathing becomes slow and long. And then not only physically, but for your soul, it has effect. It has calming effect. So in this condition, we, from our souls, we desire the peace and prosperity for humanity. And the step after that is to join the family of universal community that are waiting for us to be peaceful people. And it is all possible with what we have seen. I have seen myself. It is absolutely possible to save humanity from hunger, from ill, from bad humor by the cosmic energies, by plasma technology, and we just need to have all the humanity together in this voyage and traveling with us. So I thank everybody who does that. You don't have to do that, but you do that. We do that for our future and middle term and long term future. Thank you again.
All right. Next, we have the questions and answers with the Universal Council with Marie and Claudia. And they have their session the first Saturday of each month. And this was from the 4th of January, Saturday, the 4th of January. And we will begin with the third question. And just let me get that set up here. And here we go.
Rick, if the video is rolling, we're not hearing the sound.
Society on physical.
How could this be? Okay, got the shared sound. Oh, okay, it says screen sharing is paused. I guess I can resume it, but I never
You
paused
need
it.
to reshare. I know, I've seen that before as well. These little gremlins seem to be more invasive than ever in the recent period.
I think that's going to be a part of the future. I mean, even the presidential, they give the
Did you notice?
you know, they have the anthem, right?
Couldn't start.
They couldn't start the background music for the anthem, so they had to do it a cappella. I thought, yep, that's the sign of the times right there. That's the way all the mechanical things are going. It's so funny. Okay, let me try to get this teed up again here.
And maybe with the new chips, the AI will have a little bit more mercy on its users.
Okay, that's set. It says your screen. I never had to resume before. Okay, I'm going to resume. See what happens. Still paused.
I think you may want to try, if it doesn't work, just to close this out and then reshare it again. And unless you've already done that.
No, it's serious. This is serious. It won't resume.
I know. Yeah, I know. Huh? I've seen that before come up. I don't know how I got out of it, but somehow I did.
Okay. Let's see if I can go back to that first. Okay, that resumed. And now if I can get my video back.
Okay, and if it doesn't go through, we can always pause the recording temporarily and then resume it.
Okay, ready to try again. And resumed. So far, so good. Okay, I'm just gonna try it. Oops.
What is it like to live in a place where you don't have to work to live, but to live to work? In such places, what are the main activities of communities and citizens?
Então vamos para a terceira pergunta. Como é viver em lugares onde você não precisa trabalhar para viver, mas viver para trabalhar? Nesses lugares, quais são as principais atividades das comunidades e dos cidadãos?
And the first answer, why do you think our Universal Council sentence is, we are here to serve and not to be served? We have to change from taking to a giving society on physical, but especially on soul level too. Serve, and you understand why Mr. Keshe teaches us the universe will be our oyster. Independent souls will love to serve others because they know, like with the love, they get more back in return. Share your unconditional love, be humble, and live the ethos of Mitra.
Por que você acha que a frase do nosso Conselho Universal é: estamos aqui para servir e não para sermos servidos? Temos de mudar de uma sociedade que pega para uma sociedade que dá, no nível físico, mas principalmente no nível de alma. Sirva e você entenderá porque o Sr. Keshe nos ensinou. O universo será a nossa ostra. As almas independentes amarão servir aos outros porque sabem que, assim como o amor, receberão mais em troca. Compartilhe seu amor incondicional. Seja humilde e viva o ethos de Mitra.
And there's another answer. Teaching and learning new skills, like the knowledge of the universe. According to Mr. Keshe, we are in kindergarten regarding the knowledge. There are many, many more levels of knowledge to learn. Mr. Keshe also says that the knowledge seekers will be the new universal teachers, teaching other races the knowledge of creation. And there will be plenty of time to explore the Creator's creation and see all the beauties and wonders therein.
Ensinar e aprender novas habilidades como o conhecimento do universo. De acordo com o Sr. Keshe, estamos no jardim da infância em relação ao conhecimento. Há muitos mais níveis de conhecimento a serem aprendidos. O Sr. Keshe também diz que os buscadores de conhecimento serão os novos professores universais, ensinando a outras raças o conhecimento da criação. E haverá muito tempo para explorar a criação do Criador e ver todas as belezas e maravilhas que ela contém.
And there is another answer. Each being is free to choose their hobbies and their jobs. Consciously decide how to use their days for the benefit of all. When you don't have to work 8 hours a day, at least, to have something to eat, you choose where to work. You optimize your time, enjoying the company of your family, learning new things, investigating according to your interests, and thus increasing the knowledge of all beings. You discover the universe. You fulfill the purposes of life and are happy. Do you believe in paradise? Start planning.
Cada ser é livre para escolher seus hobbies e empregos. Decidir conscientemente como usar seus dias para o benefício de todos. Quando você não precisa trabalhar, pelo menos 8 horas por dia para ter algo para comer, você escolhe onde trabalhar. Você otimiza o seu tempo, desfrutando da companhia de sua família, aprendendo coisas novas, investigando de acordo com seus interesses e assim aumentando o conhecimento de todos os seres. Você descobre o universo, você cumpre os propósitos da vida e é feliz. Você acredita no paraíso? Comece a planejar.
And then we are on the fourth question. Hi.
Okay, thank you to Claudia and Marie for that. And now back to our presentation. And now we have an excerpt, or I believe it's called The Knowledge and Understanding, from the last Knowledge Seekers Workshop, the 573rd. And just let me get our background up, and I've got Stefania, Mark, and Sweta.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put your background music up here, and
Thank you.
let you go for it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Stefania.
You're welcome. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, we're going to do the summary of the 573, the workshop that Mr. Keshe taught last week. So for his new, you must know that every Thursday, Mr. Keshe, he teach for free in public workshop that you can interact with Mr. Keshe. So if you got any question, you can raise your hands and speak directly with him. If you don't speak English, you can translate your question and put it in the chat, and Rick will read for you. So this give you the opportunity to all of us to speak directly with Mr. Keshe. So with no further ado, I'm gonna go into the summary of the workshop, because even this workshop, like every workshop, especially this last workshop, we go into a new teaching. So they are very, very in-depth, and Mr. Keshe explaining many, many things. He didn't go in these depths like now, so I really recommend you to don't miss. So he start talking about again the cosmic ray. So if you're physics, or if you got friends, scientists, or if you have people who working with their doctor and working with the X-ray, or they are nuclear scientists, this will be something very interesting for you to read and to study and to teach to others in your fields. Because in the first part, Mr. Keshe started to talk about nuclear radiation. And he really go in details to explain what nuclear radiation are. You're also going to explain in detail what are the X-ray, gamma ray, and explain all what radiation are. So it's a very, very important part if you are into nuclear or space technology. Very important to understand. Also, it make a connection that I personally never knew about this. Maybe you also didn't know. He started to talk about the refinery and explain the refinery, they also produce nuclear material. So not just people who work in the nuclear industry, they are subject to pick up radiation and therefore having cancer, but even everyone who work in the refinery, they also have to be careful of nuclear radiation. And he's going to explain what petrol is, what oil really is, and why in the refinery you produce radiation. So he said when you refine oil, you store the oils up, and that can cause radiation. And in this part, he explained how what the oil contain and why produce radiation. So very, very interesting. I didn't know myself. And he talked about also the fact that we can contaminate rivers and the environment if we don't know how to handle properly this oil. And he going to touch also global warming, sorry. And he start to speak about marine oil being like unrefined oil. And for Mr. Keshe, this is gold, because he understands the oil, understands what it's made of. He understands what nuclear radiation are. He understands how to use them, how to get the best out of them. That's why he also said that for him, actually, the unrefined oil is gold in his hands. So if you listen to the first part, you will know more about why he says that. So It's very so interesting. And then he started to say,
Stefani, if I
yeah,
could just add on that point,
yeah,
I was very surprised when he said if we can eliminate the marine oil, I believe he said we could solve or eliminate 50% of the cancers on this planet.
wow, yeah, exactly. Wow, thank you so much, Mark. You see, very good point. He also going to say why all this is what has got to do with us, what has got to do all this with plasma technology, and he's going to talk about the spacecraft. They actually, when people building spacecraft, and he knows the military already have built a spacecraft, they have to drive into the cosmic ray. And Mr. Keshe said, if I'm the captain, I will drive, no problem, because for me, it's not a danger, because I know who they are. I know that I can use them as a food source, and I can use them to create everything I want from the cosmic ray. So if you got knowledge, the cosmic ray, you can create everything you want. So if Mark, you want to add anything, please say. And then from he talk about after he talk about the space and what we've got to do, the nuclear radiation with space. He also make the comparison of the human body, and he start to explain that the human body works just the same. So the human body make radiation, and is going to talk about the glands. And the glands, you see them as plasma packages. They create radiation, and what we call radiation actually, what he call radiation actually we know as hormones. So it's very interesting. And then he talk about vitamins and vitamin B12. They're all radiation for the body. So you can go more into that if you're into also health. Mr. Keshe really give a nice insights of the glands being like a radiation factory. And then
right, and what a simple and complex reactor we all are walking around with in our structure. It's just amazing.
Yes, and then he's also going to explain more about the magnetic fields. And he says they are the essence or the leftover of radiation. And he talks about he make another draw in the board, and he makes like a ball, like a plasma ball or a container. And he said, as we know, in this plasma package, you have fields coming in and fields coming out, and he draws, so if you imagine the Earth, the fields coming in and the fields coming out. And he said that it's very it would be what he will teach in the future is how to control the operation of a single pair of magnetic fields. And it's very interesting because he again talk about the nuclear radiation is created of interaction of the magnetic fields of a plasma or a plasma interacting with another plasma. And it's very important because he said that this interaction of the fields in plasma is the essence of the driving force of transmutation and transportation. So for everyone who try to transmute and try to understand transmutation or transportation to travel in the deep space, has to understand this, has to understand the interaction of the magnetic fields and how you can control them. And he said that by controlling them, you can also decide the speed. And it's very interesting because then from here, he's going into talk about emotion. And I thought emotion, it's again, is going to explain what emotion is. So first of all, he said the radiation in the matter, radiation that we know the radiation that every normal science knows about, that has to do with the matter state. But he now talking about radiation in energy state, that it's very, very different. And he said that in very soon, in the future teaching, he will explain how you can control the type of fields and the type of radiation from the magnetical and the gravitational, and he will by doing that you will know how to what to release and decide the speed of how much speed you can have in the travel. And he said you can achieve speed beyond our imagination just by knowing this interaction of the magnetic fields and how to control them. So it's very, very, very good to go in depth on this study if you're interested or if you want to become a man of space, if you want to travel and transmute. He goes more in detail about the emotion. So it's very interesting because he's saying that explain what emotion are. So he said that this interaction of the fields with the plasma, they can go in two ways. They can go into creating physicality and from the soul of the man. So the soul of the man can feed the physicality, but also these fields coming from space, they also coming from the universe. They also they can go into a non-tangible part, and this non-tangible part of those fields, he called them emotion. So from my understanding of what he's saying, he going to explain the definition of emotion. The definition of the emotion are these fields, cosmic fields, cosmic ray fields, that they are not going to become tangible. So when the fields are not tangible, are called emotion. This was from my understanding, but you can go on and re-listen the talks and find out if I understood wrong or not. And it's very interesting because so it's very important. He's saying that to understand that this emotion, there are fields. They are not going into anything, in any wiring, from the soul. From the soul, they're going into the brain. So we call them the one that are not tangible, that we call thoughts or emotion. There are fields they are not becoming physical. And then he said that there are other fields that with their interaction, they're acquiring some strength, some field strength, and they're going to become to form the soul of the physicality, and they're going to affect the physicality. So that's why he said that from the soul of the man you can feed the physicality, and this is what we do in the last transmutation session. So he said that if you can balance out the fields of the man, the motion of the man, that he referring to the non-tangible fields, with the motion of the soul of the man and the motion of the soul of physicality, if you can balance all those three, you can pretty much get whatever you want. You can create whatever you want. So this is very important. But that's why I said to you, go more into, because maybe I understood wrong. So just going to listen for yourself the definition of what Mr. Keshe said, emotion. And then he connect he connected that this balance from the emotion of the man, the emotion of the soul of the man, and the emotion of this soul of physicality, he replicated for all of us in the MAGRAF. But we never understand this. We never understand the real purpose of the MAGRAF. And he's saying as well that, that the MAGRAF is the essence of the transmutation. And here he goes more in details to explain what the MAGRAF is. And he talks about our friend, knowledge seeker John, who passed away, as you all know, that he was the knowledge seeker, that he came the closest to understand the MAGRAF. And in this, and he said he understood it so much that he managed to float above the MAGRAF. He managed to float. So in this workshop, in the first part, he's going to explain more and more how to use the MAGRAF and what is the MAGRAF. So I really recommend you to go on and listen. Then from here, obviously, is going into the transmutation session that's supposed to happen the following day. And he then suggests to everyone who's going to be, because the transmutation session that are happening every month are the practical of the theory of the weekly teaching of the theory. So Mr. Keshe teaches every week really the theory, and then it's got once a month where who can participate, everyone can participate to the practical of the teaching, that is the transmutation session. So he invited everyone to bring everything they want in this session, and he said it will help you to understand more about yourself and the interaction of with the plasma, with plasma. And he said that once you know this, you can create whatever you like. Whatever you like, you can create it. So I'm finished here because this is as far as I went. I don't know if you, Mark, you want to go forward, or Maranas with the 573. This is as far as I went on reviewing.
Well, thank you, Stefania. That was quite complete. Even though there's much more to understand. I just want to mention that Mr. Keshe was very congratulatory of those who stood by the Keshe Foundation like a rock, those who have tested the systems, supported the systems, and so on and so forth over many years. I can think of two, and there are many more, like our host and like the lady who served on the Universal Council for 9 years. So we thank them. And Mr. Keshe, again, he started out with thanking President Trump for, in a way, paving the path for this technology to come forward. And he mentioned about the transmutation test and how peaceful 80% of the people will feel. And I was one of those, and I certainly felt quite peaceful. And how they're looking for scientists. I think this is what's going to happen. The research centers, maybe even the governments will sponsor some of their nationals to start taking or start participating in research. As he mentioned with the growing of teeth, it's quite more complex than just growing a bone. And I think he's leaving that up to the research centers to develop this. And of course, he mentioned the ion propulsion, which he didn't recognize right away. And then something was triggered where he said, oh, yes, there's a civilization in a part of the universe that uses this sort of ion propulsion, but it's not the plasma technology. As he said, we don't force anything. It was mentioned about the cheese and enzymes and everything like that about growing teeth. I know the cheese is a very good match for the calcium and rebuilding, but it's much more complex than that. He talked about the hostage release on Thursday, and again mentioned how the Ayatollah in Iran had given permission for this process to go through. And he was quite thankful, and I think it made the incoming president look quite good day before he was actually brought into the system. He mentioned something very interesting about chewing water and the hydrogen and how this will help your emotions. We mentioned about the marine oil, which he said sells for pennies, but in my hand, he said it's worth billions. And of course, I don't know exactly what he meant by that, but as we mentioned earlier, it's part of responsible for a lot of the cancers on this planet. And of course, he showed the gas production unit then and now, and how these units can be combined into producing the CO2 and the way you mix it and other things. Very, very interesting of what's to come. He said this work has a much, much deeper aspect to it, and I don't think we've fully seen it. But again, he went into that beautiful story about the man who didn't want to work and how he bought him a meal and this and that, and questioning whether we'll have something to do. And I think we'll all have a lot to do by going out into space. But yes, Stefania, as you said about the magravs, only 1 or 2 people partially understood the operation of the magrav. This is what he said, and unfortunately, I think one of those individuals just passed, as you referred to, John, as well. So it's a beautiful time, and I'd love to see the technology. One of the things I was thinking of, and maybe next week we'll make a wish. I know he said we need to, or maybe perhaps I'll ask on Thursday, as he said, we need to sort of become quite familiar with these technologies before we actually go into space. And one of the things as he wrote to Musk, we have to learn how to go into space without materials from day one. And this creating of the walls and structures, as he said in the conference in Iran, which unfortunately had to be postponed, he said, I will open a briefcase and you will see the UFO. It'll start shimmering fields, almost like steam, and then it would form into the UFO. Why can't we take a small piece? And he mentioned LA, and why can't we take a small piece of LA and create some structures there and allow them to grow like houses? Or take a corner of Gaza and show what we can do for pennies on the dollar. I know he mentioned how expensive in the trillions, and people are rubbing their hands. President Xi has surveyed the Ukraine, wants to bring in all these construction companies. And maybe it's not time for that yet, but I know this is part of the new space cities. And as we learn to master some of the, as Mosfeq said, the communication, the feeding and the traveling, and of course, creating structures, I would love to see, or we can show what the technology can do on this planet in LA, rebuilding partial there, and also in Gaza, and also in the Ukraine and any other areas. And a lot of people have talked about the Olympics, and this is why they wanted that space for Olympics. Well, if we created things about with magnetic walls, we could actually take out our personal belongings, collapse those magnetic walls, build other structures for the Olympics, or partially build them out of magnetic fields. And when the Olympics were over, we can go back and put up regular residential housing or commercial housing or what have you. But we certainly don't have to move people out by fire and the rest of this. So it was just an amazing workshop. And as he said, the conversion of plastics, there's so much plastics on this planet, and this is part of the creating the new life in the space fuel, if you know how to handle it and if you know how to work with it. I forgot the exact words he used, but there's so many things in the works and coming forward in the next period. As I was joking when we came in, it's beginning to be a beautiful day in the neighborhood, or our neighborhood of this corner of this Milky Way galaxy. So those are some of the things I'd like to cover. Can we pass it to Myrna's if she noticed something we may have forgotten?
Well, I think you did it all. Thank you very much. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Anyone else would like to add something about this workshop that they picked up, whether you're a participant or a guest, or what they call attendee?
I'll remind our attendees you can put up your virtual hand if you would like to say something here.
So can we refer to you as Rick the Rock Crammond?
The Rock?
Yeah, thanks for all your service. That's what he said. Some of the knowledge seekers have stood by us like a rock, and you're the first one that came to my mind.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, somewhat you could say that. I get set in my ways sometimes like a rock, but on the other hand, I do roll it also and try to keep the moss off that way. Especially as you get older, the moss wants to hang on. But if you roll enough as a rock, then you get polished, and that's harder for the stuff to stick to it. And that's some of the beauty of getting older. You just let go, and things don't stick as much. Brings a lot more peace and joy. Well, shall we continue?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just trying to get reorientated. I think we have an excerpt from the 573rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop.
Now, Rick, are you going to play the long version or maybe just half of this? This is quite a long clip, but it's a beautiful narrative Mr. Keshe puts together here in these 19 minutes.
This is a 6-minute excerpt directly from.
Okay, so they cut it. Good.
573rd. Then there's the Oasis video, which is 18 minutes that we'll play after. Okay, let me get this set up. Let me see, do the sharing. Sharing, cross fingers. And here we go with the excerpt from the last Knowledge Seekers Workshop, number 573. And we're starting at about the 52-minute mark.
You can use the field of the plasmas to feed, to create interaction within the plasma. Creation, absorption of the fields, which then this can release to the soul of the man, to the physicality of the man. This is how your body works. This is how, in the teachings of the past, I explained that the physicality can be fed by the soul of the man. This is the soul of the man. And where in the physical condition we created glands and God knows limbs for different strength, radiation to be absorbed, converting to become the matter state of the body of the man in the plasma condition. So does the soul with the what we call the fields of the universe. The conversion from higher order to a lower order, that it can feed the soul of physicality and then the physicality of the man. And then even that radiation, that field, needs to be absorbed by the glands to be again diluted, that it can be digested, that it can lead to the creation of the physicality of the man. But when it doesn't lead to radiation, what we call physicality, creation of physicality, as a field interaction, which has no dimension, but field external collection, we call it emotion. And if you understand this, and go back on the teaching of past 2 or 3 years, when I start speaking about the emotion of the soul and emotion of physicality, because the feeding comes from the soul, in the strength of the field creates the same dimension in this, what we call soul of physicality, and in a non-dimensional condition of the no wiring of anything we call the brain of the man, the emotion of the man, the emotion of the soul of the man, and the emotion of the soul of physicality of the man can, in a specific way, be connected. So what I feel in my physical dimension, I feel in my soul dimension. And then if they are parallel, they are strengthened the same, then the soul decides, you want a cancer, I'll give you a cancer in your prostate. You don't like the emotion of what the sun creates for you, that's where I created it from. Now you understand. The process of the creation does not come in a matter state, it comes on the field radiation, whatever the man would like to call. Conversion of the energies, conversion of the fields, conversion and interaction of the gravitational magnetical fields is the essence of the creation. And as you never understood, I gave you this in your magraphs. The essence of, in a way, understanding of the totality is very simple. Your top layer magraph is your physicality. Your bottom layer magraph is your soul. And the center sits the soul of physicality. Any of you would like to play a game? Where here you feed the energy the way you feed the plasma fed from in. Now, those of you who've been battling with magraphs for such a long time, let me give you a gift. Turn your magraph system upside down and put your soul in the right position. Then you understand what I gave you as a creation of the fields of the universe. You looked in the magraphs for a few crumbs of energy. I gave you a magraph essence of the transmutation in dimension of the creation and the creator. My advice to you is, do not sit on your magraphs upside down. And my advice to you is very simple. If you put your magraph the way you do now, you have to understand that the latter ring has given you field low enough that it can be touched, it can be converted in a way digested, might become part of your physical dimension. This is why I always told you, you look at the magraph as a power supply, I look at magraph as a structure of the life in the universe and the creation. As I look at the fields it creates, you look at it, what comes out that you might have.
All right, that's our excerpt from the 573rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop. And as Stefania and Mark have mentioned, it's a good one to review. There's a lot of information in there. And let me see. We have some information. We have the Oasis video next. It'll be about 18 minutes. So let me get that set up and let's begin.
Yes, because Rick, the part we just see is the part I summarized already. So yeah, if you can go to the next video, thank you.
Okay.
Just changes. It's not something that we are going to do. It's something we are already doing. Some of the knowledge seekers who work with me around and know what's going on. You got to realize that everything has a cartel. Be it the wheat, be it the potato, be it the oil, be it the banking, be it the gold and diamond and the rest of it. And with even the defense, as I said, with the B-52s and this latest aircraft and the rest, with this technology, now that is, there's no way to stop it anymore. We don't want to stop it. And bent backwards this year to see all aspects of technology on the international markets and international level. And many of the knowledge seekers in the background are helping us with this, who know who we are, what we are doing. Is when we notice now that we are releasing technology, the first energy release will be the gas production unit. You will see it on the international market. Yep. This will touch the energy. The power production will be the second, followed immediately. So we will touch, in a way, I was thinking about it this morning before teaching. Saudi Arabia will have no value. And all the goals they rely on, with us introducing production of materials, especially rare earth materials and gold and the rest of it, all these shiny palaces will have nothing to support. In the next 5 or 10 years, in rapid development by all the nations, because of the little cost, will change in. And then it becomes like as I said, in the supermarkets, you go and there is nothing you need to buy. You got to realize, in the coming time, when we start relying on the energy technology as a plasma energy, not energy as oil energy and whatever, when we look at it, we don't need food. Would we have the mouth even we see a problem as you were plugging it? I don't have money to eat, but I can pick up the energy. I don't die of hunger. But as we go through the transition of relying on energy posts, like a lamppost you pass on the street, they give you the energies. Would I need to eat? I don't have the mouth to eat, because I exchange it for energy directly to my soul or my physicality or whatever. There's much deeper work into this. And then it comes to the position of, do I need to create arms, the conflicts, because I don't need for it. This technology is going to see its biggest battles in the next 12 months on the international arena. 2025 is the year that I've decided it's time for change. And those who are around me and work with me closely, they know what I'm talking about. We do not fight. We just keep on introducing new technologies, and as people pick up the technologies, we we are in there with you lot. You supported us. You knowledge seekers, in every shape or form, in past years, stood there. We put cancers out, you tested it. We put system out, you came volunteer to use it. You, as knowledge seekers, have done such a great job, unforgettable work for humanity. You will understand your positions in the coming time. Unconditionally, how many of you took everything and taught everything? And 2025 is the time, because we've done all the testing. You look at it. We've done the agricultural test, we've done the health test, we've done the material production test. Everything is done. Now this year, we bring it into the market in a very big way. In a very, very big way. We relied up to now on new knowledge seekers to support us by buying a system, supporting us with trials and everything else. We still carry on doing that, because this way we stay untainted. Nothing can interfere with our work. But in a very near future, we will go out to, not on a banner of changing the energy, on a banner of helping the people to get. And you will see the change Keshe Foundation brings.
Yep.
And as it comes, as it is, I was watching a video very recently where you see the fires in California, and they talk about the houses of 40 million, 20 million, how many hundreds of thousands of houses burned to the ground and blah, blah. Move 10 kilometers away, you have a tent worth $5, a guy living on the street, and his rows and rows of them.
Yeah.
How come within a few kilometers, one worth billions, millions, and one on the street has to beg for the food in the same city? When you look at this fire situation with California, it's amazing. You're talking about a 500 meter square land for 15, 20, 30 million just to be on the beach. Who created this wealth? And the center of it, which is what do you call it, Hollywood studios, are in danger of them might burn. And then what happened? Where does the money come from for it? They all move to the Florida, Hollywood, and then they get earthquakes. With this new technology, what I said as an oasis system is on the card, and we're going out with it. A system which can give the water, energy, and the gas if you need it. But you need the gas. You will understand later on why you need the gas, because when you add it in a certain combination, it becomes your food. In next few weeks, you will see the emergence of the Keshe Foundation on the international market. We will see a lot of problems. I've prepared myself for assassination. I've prepared myself for everything else. And we've seen how governments, knowing what we are doing, they're moving around it. But we set the structure with the help of you years ago into Markray. And other channels. So we will touch the energy, we touch the food, we touch them, everything else. So they have to come up with a new structure. When you're a poor man, you're hungry, you don't need to look in the bins and then see what you find to eat. You just go to a room, a lamp, which radiates the energy for you to receive energy. And this is what it is. And we stop these people who even have, don't do. I'm getting bad, so what should I do? 3-4 weeks ago, I was in a shopping center and I just sat you have these halls with all the different options of food and the dining area in the middle. I just picked up the food, sat to eat. And next to me, unknowingly, was this where they put the trays of, I never noticed it, trays of food. And this guy comes, is looking in the trays. I thought that's how could be very roughy looking guy, young. And he attracted me in a way. I went and I tapped on his shoulder and I said, "Are you hungry?" He said, "Yes, very much." I said, "Go to any stall, order any food, I pay for it." He went to a Mexican and he said something very strange. He said, "I'm not used to choosing," because he was looking at the board. He said, I never had the money to choose. I pick what's on the trays. And I said to the guy, whatever he chooses, I pay for it. He picked the food and he sat down, and when I finished my meal, I still had a salad which wasn't open. I thought I'll give him the salad. I walked around, I found him. He was still eating with his hands with a long nail. And I said to him, "This is the salad. It might help you." And I started talking to him. I said, "Why are you in this position?" He said, "I'm not homeless." I said, "What?" He said, "I have a home, I have an apartment. I am Austrian and I'm not foreigner. And I get paid by my government. But I don't want to work. They pay me. Why should I work 20 hours, 30 hours just to get paid what they pay me now?" And I said, "Is it the essence? What do you do for a living?" He said, "I'm a specialist in whatever, sports or whatever." I said, "Why have you wasted your life?" He said, "I don't waste my life. It's just, why should I waste my life working for something else?" And this brought me home. What would happen to us when we make everything free to man? Would we get a lot of these people hanging around because all they need, they go under the system and they get food? Would they participate in the social life? Would they bring anything extra? Would there be any incentive for us to do? This thing was in a way harsh. It wasn't harsh, it wasn't the first time I've seen it. In England we had this when I used to run business. People refused to work because they used to get unemployment. Why should they work 40 hours for 50% extra, 30% extra? Then you have to understand this new structure without them knowing or without understanding ends up with all the drug trafficking. They can produce as much as they like. People can't get addicted. And the change on the human race with this technology in the next 50 years is going to be huge. But would there be enough people on this planet to be able to support life is the biggest problem. Would we still see, this is what I said to a couple of people in defense very recently, a matter of days ago. You build the latest technologies, and I just put 2 reactors on one side of a nation, I know how to do it and cover it. In a very near future, very, very near future, we release a technology which in a way Tesla understood part of it. And he developed this system between Moscow and New York running his car. This technology is well known by us, and we bring it into the market in a different way, very different way, and you would understand it. It's the same with the structure of the buildings and the past buildings and how our buildings were built. All this knowledge, it'll come into fruition where we don't need to do much. Many of you knowledge seekers, without you knowing in a way, especially in the past 2 sessions of the Friday sessions per month, You've gone through this. We have implemented it, and we get the feedbacks in your testimonials you write to us. And when you read 3 or 4 or 5 testimonials, and then in 6 and the 7th month, and you see they all talk about the same thing. So it's correct. How many of you tomorrow after the session will feel peaceful? I say 80% of you, because we have set up to do that. You'll find peace within yourself because we know how to do it. And when you feel like this, would you take up arms? Would you go into war? The beauty with this technology now is that the story of the reactor and the metal piece hanging on it. They keep on changing the nuts and the bolts and composition of the material. We understood the power, the effect of radiation and fields. And I can change it with the fields. They can make as much injections and whatever they like. Would we touch plastic? Or would we use the plastic to create the next generation of life? And then we said, it was a blessing that man created so much plastic. You look at the plastic as a menace. In my life, in my way of thinking, if you understand, it's got a combination of the carbon and hydrogen, it's the fuel to travel the span of the universe, and there's so much of it done. It's just knowing how to salvage it and knowing how to process it.
Yeah.
Understand? This is the biggest change. And I'm bent backwards to bring the change in 2025, and we are working on it. Everything started, and we have a good position, hopefully, for a few months till, as I say, the thing doesn't go upside down. With Trump in the administration trying to push for the peace, but in a way he's creating new wars with Canada and Mexico, and trying to push other things to bring that change in. As I said, in a couple of years' time, we offer $2 for Tesla car company as a whole. You will understand very soon why, because nobody is prepared to buy electric cars. Nobody is prepared to buy electric cars, and nobody worth to manufacture electric cars. You will see. I hope our work and what we are doing will go ahead. And the ground has been created for the change and is an opportunity to take. And we are grabbing that opportunity. Hopefully we'll bring a team together, we can bring it in and bring the change. 2025 is the year of the change, and Keshe Foundation has already working on it to bring that change. We'll have a lot of enemies. Believe you me, it's not going to be easy. But we are coming through the back door in a very silent way.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We still need support. We need a lot of support to be able to bring this home the correct way. But on the other hand, there's opportunity we cannot miss. And if we miss it, it's going to be a big disaster.
Okay, there's our first 18 minutes of the video, and we'll next week we'll listen to the second half. All right, let's move into, we have a picture and recording from Jacko. So let me get the picture up here first. Okay, you should be able to see the picture there now. And we have about a 5-minute audio file from Jacko. So I'll play that, and hopefully it'll come through. It's an audio file in the background, and I believe it will work. If you don't hear it in the next 5 or 10 seconds, let me know. Okay, here we go.
Hey there, beautiful souls in, on, and beyond our beautiful planet Earth. It's me, Jacko, Universal Council member and representative of the Dutch language. And a creative welcome to all of you. Don't forget always to ask your soul to be your guide, and ask your soul to support you in every work you do. And if you understand, start spreading the knowledge by teaching all souls in existence. Because it's the exchange of the knowledge brings us deeper into understanding. And by learning more, we teach more. Now it's my thoughts and what I've learned from the teachings in the Knowledge Seekers workshops of Mr. Keshe. CRM can stand for Customer Relationship Management. CRM can also stand for Cosmic Ray Materials. CRM can also stand for Creation, Repulsion, Manifestation. If we listen carefully to what Mr. Keshe is teaching us, we come to the point where we have to understand manifestation comes out of creation in the cosmic field. In so many ways, Mr. Keshe explained how to interact with the rays, fields, plasma, parts of, multiplications of those fields. And the plasmas, there is an ocean of emotion of creation. Do you dare to dive into it? Take a swim in that ocean. Feel the possibilities by feeling the soul connection to creation. The most important thing is to understand what your goal is. The goal defines the way, which gives the connection, combination of, division of, to reach that goal. When your soul and your soul of physicality come in line, physicality has to follow. So many times we wish with our words, and even if there is a right intention, it somehow doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Is it the soul position that maybe has a different goal? Do we oversee points that are important to finally find the way, the right way? We know that right way is always to the benefit of all. The time of wishes was a very strong emotional one for most of us. The time of manifestation will not be less emotional, but now we learned to focus on our goals. Remember, when you ask and it is given, is your right. Beautiful souls, feel your oneness and all the changes we will see very soon. Months ago, I felt the emotion of change. It was indescribable, strong, deep, and beautiful. Souls of the light, unite to change, to love, in the love of Mitra. We love you limitless. Thank we as one.
Well, many thanks to Jacko for that interaction. All right, I believe next we have the Keshe Foundation products and store that we can bring up. I'll bring up the web page for that. Our background image today, by the way, is from the Keshe Foundation store. And just let me get that up here properly. If we go to the transmutation flight, that's our background image, which is a painting, a Gans painting, actually. So, Mark, were you going to remark about the store?
Sure. Thank you, Rick. The Keshe Foundation needs support in every shape and form. So it's up to you, in a way, to decide how you can support the Keshe Foundation. I think the best tool that we all have is to use our emotions, our energies, to elevate the world leaders and religious leaders to see a new position that they can change, or give them the strength to change, that the soul would change something within these leaders in the dimension of the physicality. So we can all do that. It doesn't cost any money. And in a way, it's opening yourself up to your own dimension of energy, which again, we didn't really, and we still fully haven't understood. Maybe, Rick, you can find the migraine cap. I think you were on that migraine cap at one time, or maybe not, but this was I'll just share something with you. And again, we're not discouraging you from testing or making any of these products, from magrevs to butterflies or paint pens or any of these things. But to me, this is where the meat and potatoes of the Keshe Foundation, if we could use that word, is to be found, and is to be tested, and is to be, in a way, reported back to the Keshe Foundation. So this migraine cap, someone shared, a knowledge seeker had shared, that the father of her children had been suffering from migraines since a child, since 7 years old. And hopefully, Rick, we can have this formally made by the person who actually experienced it. I'm just passing it on secondhand for the testimonials meeting, but apparently had these migraine conditions. And probably the person was maybe now between 50 and 60 years old. So that was a lifetime of having to deal with migraines, and they're quite debilitating. The mother had bought the father of the children a migraine, or I think they call it the ice cap. I think that's what it's called in here. And amazingly, the person reported that they have no more migraines. Now, I don't know how much time they've spent with doctors and treatments and re-examinations and other remedies of trying to solve it, because as I said, sometimes these things are so powerful that you can't even go to work. So this is a little story. I'm just sharing secondhand. Again, this is not my story, but it's something that was reported. And the migraines disappeared. I don't know if it was a few weeks or a few months or how it actually was applied, but that was the report. So imagine helping an individual, maybe a friend, maybe a neighbor, maybe someone who's a coworker who you know has been missing because of reported migraine conditions, which apparently is very, very hurting. And again, disorientating and probably debilitating. You can pick up a product like this. Again, this is $69.99 plus the value-added tax and the shipping, I believe. Most of the time, I think the shipping is included. But there's many, many other products in the store. I was thinking of the soaps. These are very, very luxurious soaps. And they're a bit expensive, but for someone special to you, to give them a bar of soap and say, try this. This is a new type of product in a way. And of course, we know that it's made with plasma water and it has multiple effects. And there's a different number of varieties of soaps, but again, it could be a butterfly as well, which Mr. Keshe informed us recently. This is an actual magrav that I don't think anyone had actually seen. And of course, all the products within the Keshe Foundation store are designed and developed for the elevation of the soul, as I understand it. So these are some of the soaps. I had gotten the original ones and I gave a couple away, and they, people said, wow, this is really a very nice product. Although they didn't ask for any more or anything like that. I think the new soaps, yes, the ones I had gotten were more or less plain. I don't think there was any sort of smell in there. But now there's different types. I think there's a lavender soap and maybe rose, cherry. Yes, here's all the different names of the different soaps. And again, this probably has an effect on emotion, but also it has an effect on the environment. As the water that it's made with, the GANS water, is released into the environment, we know what this does. It elevates the soul of the planet, and this is the first step in creating the process of peace, or the peace stone. So people would be using this, enjoying it, enjoying the smell of it, as well as contributing unknowingly in a way, or not fully understanding, they're actually elevating the soul of the planet by releasing GANS waters in this shape or form. So there's many products within the store. And Rick, if you could go to the feeding tubes, I'd just like to share a little bit on that, if we can find that. And this is the 4th week or 5th week. I haven't kept a great track of it, but since the Thursday before last, I think that was maybe, let's see, last Thursday was probably the 8th day that I've only consumed one meal. And that was the 3rd week of using these tubes of GANS to actually feed. And that's what we saw in one of the previous workshops, how we can absorb the energies. So I've been working with these, even though before I even got these, I sort of practiced a little bit of intermittent feeding, where maybe I'd skip a meal or sometimes 2 meals a day. And then I've gotten these products and I've been working with them. And this will be, I think, the 13th day. I'm not going to continue to keep track of how many days. It'll just be natural. That I've gone with only one meal, although other factors have stayed the same. I'm still having tea and coffee in the day. So, and as Mr. Keshe said, you could basically live off of coffee, I guess. But these are the products I've been using in testing. And so I think each tube is about a 99. They did have a bundle package, I think, and I had ordered that. But each tube is about €99. So the idea is to, like right now, I'm feeding Rick, and they always said you can't talk with food in your mouth. But of course, I'm not chewing anything. I'm holding one of these tubes called the herbal tube in my right hand. And it's beautiful that we can talk and feed simultaneously right now. The first period, I just kept them in my hands morning, noon, and night for 30 minutes at each one of those periods. Now we're increasing it to 45 minutes. But one thing I wanted to emphasize, if I've missed, let's say, 13 times 2 is 26 meals, and in the last 4 weeks, 3 weeks and a half or whatever it is. And even if you made those meals at home, it would probably still cost you anywhere from $7 to $10 a meal. So 13 times 10 is about $130. I've almost paid for half of the product. And the beauty of it is you're feeding off pure natural fields. I don't know how it's happening, but it's happening. I don't quite understand it, but it is my wish to do that. And it is my wish to dine the way the Creator dines. And that's without killing and without stealing other entities' energies to sustain your own. So it's working quite well. I think I'll allow the energies to settle in for maybe 3 months or 6 months before I go any further with this process. As Mr. Keshe said in the transmutation sessions, you need sometimes to allow the energies to settle in over a week or 2 weeks or even a month, and then you may see the change. So I've been working with these and I noticed a change. And I think my emotions towards food, again, they'll diminish. And this is a natural process. So for those who want to lose weight, if that's your goal, this is a beautiful way. Mr. Keshe said he's lost 25 kilos, I think, since March. So he has also dining probably in this shape or form. I'm not sure. He hasn't gone into details of it. But again, the main point of this feeding, of course, is space travel, where we can't take all the food we need. But the idea of the ethos of space and the ethos which we will all, which will get more and more instilled on this planet, I think the idea of feeding in time, I don't know how much time, will sort of be frowned upon, almost like some older practice we used to do, like when we delivered water in lead pipes and so on. We sort of moved away from that. So the main idea of the whole thing is to be able to feed without killing and destruction. And so we're just sort of practicing to run a 26-mile marathon. And as I've said before, I'm just learning to run around the block at this point. But it's quite successful. And again, this system here will pay for itself. Now, if you're dining out on a regular basis, and, you know, I don't know what meals are, but they're certainly a lot more expensive than they used to be. That system, within missing the 13 meals, if you were to dine out, has already paid for itself. And it's a training
not
tool.
only that, Mark,
Yes.
but think of the time that people spend making a meal. You can easily spend an hour or two preparing, eating the meal, and cleaning up after the meal. And now you multiply that times your factor, and you've got quite a few hours that have been actually liberated to do other things that maybe you hadn't considered before. So in a way, it's pays off even more. Like you could be working at so many dollars an hour during that time and actually making instead of eating. And that's kind of a double bonus. So depending what you want to do, you could be meditating or doing some sort of dream work or something like that. There's all kinds of opportunities. And perhaps as people move more toward this kind of technology, it will liberate some of the hours that we think we don't have. A lot of people working really hard and so on, and it could liberate hours that they need for their R&R and generally for their lives. So it could actually liberate a lot of energy on the planet. You could look at it that way.
And it's just amazing that my stomach feels full all the time. I just don't understand how this is happening. I'm not putting anything in there except at night. And even last night, you know, I sort of missed having breakfast. And once in a while in the morning, I think about having a bagel with some cream cheese or whatever. But it's just an amazing process that I'm going through.
Do you ever chew your virtual food, or do you just
No, but I did start chewing the coffee or the water. He said that definitely helps with emotions. I'm not sure about that whole process. But last night, since I hadn't had breakfast regularly in the last number of days, I just decided to make some like egg McMuffins, you know, or an egg McMuffin with sausage and cheese. And I had to, in a way, because the eggs were starting to get older. And there's many less trips to the supermarket needing this or needing that, or you got to go there to pick up one thing you want to do. So there's been many less trips. So it's an experience. I would encourage people to try this. And again, in an emergency situation, if you, as they said in Georgia yesterday or the day before, that all chicken sales or poultry sales, I guess, because of the testing, and they found some sort of avian flu or something in the birds, that the chicken sales have been halted in the state of Georgia within the United States. So this is a very nice, convenient way, and this is the wave of the future. Again, this is a training tool. It's helping us to build confidence that we can achieve this. And as he said with the LA, you could just set up reactors around the city, and people, without them even ever seeing a reactor, will be able to just absorb their food with it. And that's part of the new space cities as well that he'd mentioned. I haven't heard much about that, but I think they're in test. At least one was in test in China, and there may be another one in another location on this planet where there aren't the, let's say, supermarkets, and they're not the hospitals, or there's not power generation facilities and so on and so forth. So this is all, everything in the store in a way is to lead into this new life in the space travel, in the space. Okay.
Sorry about that.
I don't know if that was me or you.
No, that was an incoming.
That's okay. No problem.
That's social media that
so
I need.
There's many products to choose from, and there'll be many more, I think, to choose from. And as Mr. Keshe said, with this power unit, what he posted on the X platform, the gas unit, I think he was responding that it would replace the internal combustion engine in about 10 years or less, and it would replace the batteries in the car as well. And it'll be not needing refueling for 20 to 30 years. It'll weigh about 10 kilograms, and it'll be priced about $200. So for those who have energy, as he said, would you like that big unit, or would you like this little portable unit? And, you know, what we saw in the workshop, that unit has been reduced, as the UBSOS has been reduced, and other items will be reduced. The new power unit is the size of a small plastic toolbox, maybe 1.5 feet by, 10 inches or something like that, 8 inches across. And he showed the picture, so you can see that the new, although it's going to be fitted with a proper case, and it'll look quite fancy, he said, but this is the first step in touching the energy sector. And then it's going to go into the power generation plants, I believe. This will be where they're distributing to an entire city or so on. And slowly they'll start to touch this, but it's going to be an immediate following up after the gas energy unit is released. So this is the way to keep, yes, there's clothes, there's many different items in the store. And of course, those clothes are impregnated with GANs and balancing emotions. And this store is going to grow, I think, probably through the research centers, although Mr. Keshe seems to be, as he said, we've spent quite a lot of time in the lab in the last couple of years. We haven't just been sitting idly. But these products are properly made. They've been supervised by Professor Keshe, if we can refer to him, or universal teacher, Mr. Keshe. And you can have confidence that these products are meant to deliver what the description of them are. But even with the cosmic ray material, as he said, some people will put the cosmic ray material in their hand and they'll say it doesn't work, I don't feel anything. And he indicated that's because you're not connected to your soul. So this is all part of the process. But as I said, I think the person with the migraine cap didn't have much understanding, I don't know, about the soul and the work of the soul and the rest, and the technology works. So it's a beautiful path to start exploring some of these things. Someone has a knee condition. And as Mr. Keshe said, he said, I test these on myself first, and then you get it. So all of these have been tested not only with Mr. Keshe, I don't know if each and every one has, but it's certainly been tested with other volunteers. And that's another way, of course, to keep the Keshe Foundation free, is to volunteer for a transmutation test. And we know that not everyone has the funds and are able to do that. But there's many, many ways of supporting if you do have funds. And even if you can't receive items from the Keshe Foundation, such as the satellite soul, such as the Keshe coin, again, you don't receive an actual coin. And of course, that the crypto market seems to be up and down like a yo-yo. But as Mr. Keshe said, it was kind of funny when he was talking about selling stock in the stock market and selling the knowledge of God. And this is what the Keshe coin is backed by, the knowledge of creation. So it's not just backed by air, the Keshe coin. It's backed by the knowledge of creation, which we're replicating work done in the universe. So however you can support, there's many, and usually twice a year. There's sometimes once a year or twice a year, maybe at Easter and at Christmas, there are bundles put together where you can have a slight discount on the product. But again, it would just be amazing to help someone with migraines or with other conditions, as we heard, even to Rick in the testimonial where someone's jaw had realigned. I didn't even know they had a product for that in the Keshe Foundation store. Some sort of, what did they call it? A tooth, something about the teeth or the jaw. And that was reported that they used that, and there was a repositioning of the jaw.
Yeah,
so
kind of deal. Amazing testimonial.
Yeah, I think, and this has been our wish, that we start to see more and more testimonials. So this will totally counteract, as he said, we'll have some issues with the cartels in the coming period. But who are you going to believe? The people who have given the testimonials, or something coming out of a cartel that said you really need to burn our fuel? You can't do it the other way. But I think people will obviously understand what's going on here and move away from that sort of thing slowly, step by step. But maybe in the beginning period, as he said, we're going to release so much technology. When he develops these systems, and again, they're not coming on the market right away from the creation of amino acids, he said we just put them on the shelf and then we'll bring them out later. So I think mankind is going to be quite dizzy. The head will be spinning with all these new technologies coming in such a short period of time into the market, that the idea is to move away from the old toys of war and destruction into the new toys of creation and elevation. So we have a beautiful period coming up, and as Mr. Keshe said, we need the support in every shape or form, and that's up to you what you can do in your position. Thank you. Anyone else want to add anything else about the store?
Mashfaq has a hand up here. Maybe he has something to say. Or
No, I may have missed the transmutation slide. I didn't see it. I mean,
well, jump right in then. We'll go from or Rick can bring up the transmutation session here in the store, where it's offered and how you can find it, Mosfik, if you could.
Okay. Let's well, as you know, I will just talk about transmutation. We heard that Mark is transmuting already. So so we have evidence here, which is Mark. So let's see.
Just let me say one thing, Mosfek, before you continue. We're all transmuting 80% of our energies according to this universal knowledge. So each and every one of us, more or less, 79, 81% of your energy is coming through your structure automatically without you knowing. I always thought everything we ate was the energy that we had within our structure. But now with the new understanding, with the new knowledge, it's only 20% that we're short. That forces us into this position in a way of killing and taking other entities. We never looked at it that way. But these tubes and these other feeding systems is going to allow us to, again, dine in a way or replicate the way the Creator dines. And he doesn't destroy any of the creation to sustain its own energies. Excuse me, Mosfek, please continue.
Yeah, so Mark just made my presentation simpler because he said, well, 80% job is done. So 80% of the job is done. So, well, let's say, the rest of it, a little bit left here. So we are all quite far into the process, as we heard. And so let's address the 20% that we are still missing. So, the thing is that this transfer of energy is the main part of it is that, we have been kind of like doing all of these stuff naturally, as we heard. And and we didn't pay any effort. Consciously, we didn't put any effort into it. So with the awareness that we can consciously do the rest of it. So it's a great privilege to be aware of something that we already have been doing. So let's take the example of, let's say, when we get a cut on our skin. And let's say let's assume that it's a small cut, and for the moment, and after a while it heals. The body is doing something, and it heals. And eventually, the skin is, we don't see any blemishes even on the skin. So, something magical happens. Now, if we add GANs to the process, what happens? Things get accelerated. So the factor is that, the body is doing this unconsciously, automatically, and we are not conscious of what's going on in our skin for this process to take place. Somehow GANs shorten the time. What happened? Yeah, we were not conscious of the process, the original process. We are not conscious of what GANS is doing, but can we become conscious of it and make it happen in 0 time instead of a smaller finite time that GANS is taking? So this is where we are heading. 0 time. We need food, it's there. We need energy, it's there. We don't have to even think about food. So being aware of it, we can engage in a way that's beyond the physical limitation of time. We are completely in the energy dimension. There, time no longer operates the way it does in physicality. So we are completely in magnetic and gravitational field. And we don't have to rely on this limitation of time. Our physicality, yes, it is designed to function and work well and heal itself in physicality, but it takes a finite amount of time. As we engage our soul or consciously engage our ability to transfer energy, we can accelerate the process. What GANS is doing is it is accelerating the process by supplying some energy. So it's a stepping stone, but it's a useful stepping stone. One aspect of the usefulness that we may have missed is that as it's being applied, we may have some clue about in it by noticing the feeling we get. May not be the feeling in the emotional level that we are accustomed to at the physical level. It is those unnamed, unknown emotion that's between soul of man and soul of physicality. So there are things we can become aware of on our way to be completely independent of time. And I'm not just talking about healing a wound that we have on somewhere on our skin. We are talking about our existence here. So, but the example of wound is a simple way of describing that how we can move from healing over a certain period of time to healing in no time. And this is transmutation. Transmutation in energy dimension, where physicality just, you can think of it as a snapshot, something happening in the energy dimension. So this is all within our capacity. Now that we know that soul is capable of operating, soul actually is not just operating in that dimension, but it is there. We live in 2 dimensions. One is that of physicality, the other is that of energy, where soul is completely there. We have to acknowledge that our other side of our life, which is the energy dimension. And as we become familiar with it, we move closer to this zone of no time, where the limitation of space and time is no longer there. We operate from the side of the ability to create physicality, create space, create time. It may sound like a lot, but we live in that world, as we have heard earlier from Mark. I mean, some of it is already happening. We are just not, we are just missing the whole plot in a sense. Not the whole plot, 80%. I mean, we are missing 80% of the plot, perhaps. But the thing is that it is within our reach. And all we have to do is conduct experiments like Mark is doing. You know, he was doing certain experiments with certain facilities available in Keshe Foundation. Yes, those are helping him considerably. And there are, number of ways we talk about that we can achieve this kind of operation in the energy dimension. So people have achieved this in the past, although the number is very small. It has happened in the past, but now that this information is becoming widely available, and more so as the world situation evolves towards peace, and the peace is actually, in a way, related to that, is that once we are peaceful, we can engage in these kind of operation or learning, and the whole humanity moves in a more in the energy dimension. Not that we have to leave the physical world, we are still here, but by having the energy dimension operating at the same, not at the same necessarily, it's at the same time. I was going to say at the same time, but concurrently, and also what's the word for the same place? Let me kind of glom this together and call it coherently, and then we can have a flexibility where we can slow down, speed up, and anything in between. So we get the experience of physical dimension, which has its place. I mean, it's not that it's irrelevant, but at the same time, we have the other side of the energy dimension. Then we can just use and go between the two worlds and create something new out of it. And let's see how far we can take this piece. It's just a step in the first step in a long journey ahead. So let's see where we go. Thank you very much, and we shall talk later.
Thank you, my dear Moshwik. Beautiful. You said every word. Thank you, Mark, and help humanity to transform and transcend. Let's flow the energy in kindness, in humbleness. Those who have those abilities, please do. Please donate to Keshe Foundation for the benefit of all. Let's flow the energy share in this equality, as we are all part of it. Humble request from universal souls, as we are from all over the world. Thank you. Thank you. This is the transmutation, transformation time of the whole humanity. So help each other, those who have the ability. Thank you. Thank you so much. And now we can go to the next slide, my dear Rick.
Before we get to the needs and wishes, which I think will be next, as far as I can tell here, I'm supposed to mention about to follow MT Keshe on the X platform. So let me just show that briefly.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with navigating that site, but there were a lot of questions Donald Trump was asking. I noticed I was scrolling through it yesterday, and he was saying, should we not continue in the World Health Organization? Another question was, should Bill Gates, I think it was yes or no answers, be part or be brought into the Trump administration? So again, there's many they're searching for advice and to sort of test the waters, how the public is feeling. So it's quite an amazing process, as Mr. Keshe put in the and described the whole situation with the eminent scientist Stephen Hawking, and just an amazing. And what I said about the system replacing the car batteries, and it's all in there. You just have to sort of play with it a little bit. I'm not even half familiar with it yet, and I haven't been verified, so I don't know if that makes a difference either. I think they want you to put a picture in there. They want you to create some sort of, there's a few, I think there's 4 or 5 steps to be verified. But a couple of my posts, I think, were already put in there. And I was just agreeing or answering yes or no to a question. We're just putting our big toe in the water.
Right. So there's the main site for Mr. Keshe, which is x.com/Mehran T Keshe. And he's made several posts so far. And he intends to make a post when he wants to make a point, basically, and also for teaching through this site. Teaching about, well, in the last post, it's the truth about the Iranian nuclear bomb capability, and Netanyahu from Iranian nuclear physicist. And he goes on, and when you click on the show more, he has quite a few paragraphs here, quite a story to tell about part of the negotiations for the IAEA negotiations with Iran and so on, how there were some lies being told. He's trying to clear up some of the information. And the other post is about solving the problem of depending on resources and how you can create resources from the fields. And this is what his point was there, that they've done this in the 2023 with the Chinese military generals. So interesting, and see Mr. Keshe engaging in this X platform is quite refreshing, and I think once the dust settles on what's with this inauguration of President Trump, and Elon Musk now has that entire department on his own, because the other person that was supposed to work with him on it quit to become a senator.
Governor of Ohio.
Governor. Okay. Yeah. And so he's got that whole portfolio for himself to clean up a couple of $1 trillion out of the budget and figure out that aspect. So he's probably quite busy, along with the other half a dozen major companies that he's a CEO of. It'll be kind of hard to get his attention, you would think, but he seems to have the ability to do everything all at once, and that's kind of his specialty. But he focuses very closely on the things that he does focus on. So I think the paths will cross, and I've been playing with this Grok thing, the AI, and asking Grok what would happen when the Keshe technology and the Elon Musk technology merged together. what would that look like? And you get some incredibly interesting responses. You can try that if you're on the X platform. You can use Grok, and you can just put in your question in Grok, and it's quite amazing the answers it will give. So do check out the site and try to get involved more with the X platform. It will be and is the way of the future in many ways for influencing the government, for letting people know about what's happening in the world of plasma and all the changes coming up. And people can react in real time, instantly. And sometimes the big names get involved. So we're moving into a new era here in many ways. And I think it's really exciting and really, in many ways, for me, I've lived my whole life to get to this point of the changes that are going on the planet now in the next couple of years, and even you could even say a couple of hours, because the changes will be happening so fast and furious here. And some people will be furious, but you'll see a smile on my face no matter what goes on, because I know we're moving toward that point of connecting with soul and the consciousness of the universe.
What happens if you scroll down here, Rick?
Mm-hmm.
Is this where you see Bill Gates, or is this another one? I think I found it under replies, but there was some questions from President Trump. Again, maybe it's just because I'm following him. I don't really understand how all of it works. I'm just getting set up. This is the first time I've ever been on any sort of social platform.
Well, Trump was mentioned somewhere in the comments, I think it was, but it's there's two Trump channels. There's the real Donald Trump, and there's another one that's the real Donald Trump News. And the news channel is not associated with Donald Trump in terms of that. They put up the questions, and if this, then would you say yes or no, and that kind of thing. I'm not sure if the real Donald Trump does that as well, but there's two different channels, so you have to kind of discern a little bit there. And I'm not sure myself on how some of the connections are made. But you can actually, I've tried sending, referring Mr. Keshe's posts and reposting them and posting them in chats from Trump and Elon Musk and so on, trying to find kind of a crack somewhere there that we can insert the pry bar of plasma. So depending on who you're following and so on, you'll get different posts coming up. Here's the Elon Musk channel, for example. He's got 213 million followers. He follows just under 1,000 other people. So, and you can see that through my information that he's followed by Mehran Tavakoli Keshe, the Intel Drop, and others that I follow. So,
and when he does, I guess they have these open sessions, or when they're saying he's on Spaces, he's reaching 1 billion people.
Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, well, this is the new way of doing things, and perhaps we will have more or less a one world government coming up. They talked about Elon Musk giving a salute. You see his salute here?
To say thank you, and I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
He's actually saying thank you, like from the depths of my heart. I, throw my heart out to you, basically. And some people are saying it's a Nazi salute. So,
Of course.
this is a kind of dichotomy that we're going to have in the next while. So it'll be interesting to see all the conflicts as well as the resolutions that will come through, and then changes are going to be incredible for sure. Okay, we should get back, I suppose, to our previous programming here. So we have needs and wishes coming up. We need to wrap soon, of course, but we do have some needs and wishes to handle.
Thank you, my dear Rick. Of course. Yeah, okay.
We, the UC and the UC support, give from our souls collectively for a permanent peace and justice in the Middle East.
We are present. Time of change, needs and wishes, beautiful souls. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Anybody, any beautiful soul who want to share something, say something. We are all knowledge seekers, my dear. So please do. Welcome.
Well, one thing I'll just say in passing here that I noticed that President Trump in his speech, the main thing that he wanted to be remembered for was to bring peace. So this is interesting, and I was stunned to hear one of the Canadian journalists, who is very critical normally of Trump, say that it was incredible because this is the first president or first politician he knows of that's been elected that actually did what he said he was going to do. You can hate it or love it, what President Trump is doing, but the fact is he said he was going to do it, and he's doing it. That's the first time that's happened in history, according to this political journalist from Canada, who was just stunned, and he was quite happy that this was playing out this way, in a way that at least we can rely on him by his word in many ways. It's a strange twist of events in my mind, because I've had a hard time getting around this idea. But now that I'm here, I'm really happy with the way things are going. Let's shake things up and see where the cards lie.
One thing I want to share, Rick, it's beautiful you said. We were watching Donald Trump's oath ceremony, and you know the YMCA dance, the boys,
Well, there's another total dichotomy that I can't get my head around. It seems like the one guy that would be against that particular band would be Donald Trump and his people, but in total opposite, they're fully accepting it and having a great time with it. So
yes, dancing.
yeah, and
That was the beauty.
dancing was important to the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh, we are so satisfied, when he said peace. And one thing to note is that no political people were invited in a way. You can't see them. And in India, there is there is this discussion going on why he hadn't invited Modi and why he was not like that. But I am so happy about everything. But this is the way the dance, the beauty, and Donald Trump was dancing, and the symbol Elon Musk gave. It has a lot of meaning. So thank you, Rick, my dear. Thank you so
But what have you done? You are making everybody dance now.
much.
What have
Yes,
you done?
Morphic.
It's
Yes,
pretty
you know.
hard pretty hard to hate somebody when they're dancing, right? It's hard to be a hater when
Yeah,
someone's
indeed,
dancing.
indeed.
You can kind of make
Do you
fun of
too?
them, but still it makes you a real downer if you're criticizing someone because they're dancing, because maybe that's the way to go. We'll have to have all the world leaders dance together in order to bring peace together.
It
They
is,
should.
The
it
world
is. That's what he said when he commented on the Red Indians and how they did the rain dance. And he concluded, why don't we start dancing with our souls for peace?
What?
Yes.
Wow. Yes.
Outrageous. Isn't that something? That's beautiful. Wow. So yeah, a lot of
Yes.
surprises coming out of this, out of the mouth of Mr. Trump here, and surprises for me at least. And I thought I'd never be surprised again because he's already put out so many just totally strange things, it seems. But on the other hand, he's making. Oh, the other thing this Canadian journalist said, that President Trump during his speech was very measured and very even, and that he didn't go to extremes emotionally. And this is, again, just stunned this Canadian political journalist, because he was so used to criticizing and being cynical about Trump, and here's Trump again doing blah blah blah, and he's always been on that sort of leftist kind of slant of the CBC broadcasting. And he just came right around, and it's just on his jaw was almost open. And this is an old seasoned journalist who's been there for probably 30 years. So interesting times. They definitely are changing.
Very, 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 very.
And we continue these energies into the reactor group, right, Rick?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, we can talk about that. We should sew it up soon here. But I wanted to bring up some things mentioned in the YouTube here. We have someone active called Tender. Tenders has a bunch of questions and comments here. So I'm just going to run through kind of, I don't know if we want to address each one or just kind of a stream of consciousness, you could say here, but I'll just read it, and maybe we want answers at certain points or go back through. So Tender says, since we are all knowledge seekers, I believe the need of communities are to have infinite questions asked. For example, why do we learn about transmutation or soul food and soul transmutation? Are certain of these criterias like laws before we can go to space, be it in the company of other humans, be it to meet and interact with extraterrestrials? And how severe are these criterias or ethics to temporarily join these parallel realities until you can make it, quote. I mean, we have to be able to judge or choose if we can take or accept certain situations or conditions or not without passing for racist simply because not compatible. I mean, how do they live up there or out here feeling comfortable? A basic follow-up question, would we feel more or less physical? How do you imagine your life in your spaceship or on another planet? And what about just another location on this planet? in the company of another sample individual of another race. So, like
Rick,
say, there's a bit
Rick,
of
I will say that, dear, dear beautiful soul, tender, I will say that all the questions you have asked, it has to be answered properly. And first the process is how transmutation and transformation, and which comes through this knowledge of understanding first, and we will talk in detail about your question, as we are all knowledge seekers. Question in the next upcoming One Planet, One Race for One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace. Start the form, getting the knowledge properly to understand up to the level of your parallel universe, your way of transforming in other planets, other space, your way, that will be only your way. And that starts with the knowledge of the universal love. My dear, of course, we will answer, we will discuss. And that is better, so that we can discuss it more clarity. Thank you,
Right.
Tender. Thank you, my dear.
And just to say briefly, as Mr. Keshe has indicated, we're bringing you into space in the educated way, and that we will be equal with the universal community. As we understand, their knowledge is far surpassed ours in many ways. So he's bringing us and introducing us to the universal community as equals, that no one gets abused due to lack of knowledge, which I think can happen in space as well. As he said, one of mankind's biggest problems when he was interviewed by this Italian interviewer, she said, what's one of the biggest problems of man going into space? And he said one word: ignorance. So he's bringing us and training us in a way that will go in as equals. That's all.
Absolutely. 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 The truth, only truth.
I would like to add something about, I had testimonial, which I do it next week. But there is something I want to mention. When we talk about the transmutations experience every month, some people say, I like to do that, but I don't have enough money. The thing is, this whole experience is just in an experimental level, and those who pay and participate, one, they participate for donation. Two, they're ready to be used as cobayes to develop this knowledge to be better. And three, as all we need to assist just a headphone or two headphones and a telephone. So the day it is actually completely developed and humanity is a level of using it equally and justly and peacefully, then all we need is to be connected by the Zoom. So the future is that there is no problem that all of us can be connected, be fed to get all the profits of Ganges, and even feel hot and cold and everything else. So the future is that we are being the cobayes, but the future is that someday when the time comes, we all can use a headphone to connect to the Zoom and profit from all these benefits of technology. I'm absolutely sure we can feed, medicate, and all the things which has been said. and create a shelter, create fire, create whatever. And I just thought, why not traveling under the surface of Earth? If we don't need oxygen, if we can transmute, we don't need food, materials, we can travel whenever it's our wish is. So just that. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear Mehran. Thank you so, so much. Beautiful. Thank you. We can move to the next slide, my dear.
There's one more comment from Tinder I'll just throw in here, which is a question for the ETs. Is it possible that you ETs have been doing Starlinks way before Elon Musk, just as a mock exam? I mean, we see so many things being also seen as lights. How can we know what's behind or inside them?
Yes, data has been from thousands of years. But now we are aware, indeed, of course.
Yeah. Can I add that Mr. Keshe said what he's teaching, he's not teaching it just to us, he's teaching it the whole universe. And that's the age of science for the whole universe. That even the UFO technologies are kind of being out of fashion. So, and sometimes we, the humans, can teach others this new technology. So this is the age of knowledge. So it's the most advanced technology he's teaching us gracefully. Thank you.
And you're correct, Myrna, he is teaching them. And as he said often, if they knew how to move the way the creator moves, they wouldn't need a craft. So they're being educated into this knowledge as well.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Thank you.
In fact, he's little by little teaching, and I'm sure there are some who have understood it, that kind of how creator is made and how we can transmute to that line of energy, which is way too far concerning the normal education of the society. So no wonder it's the age of the knowledge in the whole universe.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. Thank you, Mehran.
Thank you, Mehran. Then again, beautiful souls, we are here to serve, not to be served. Thank you, my dear beautiful souls. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Swagatam into the beautiful, beautiful energy, beauty and totality of Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Welcome, welcome to the universal love. Welcome to all that is love. And join, follow, jump in, x.com and Keshe Foundation. I will say thank you so much. Sashwat Pranam, Salam, Namaste, Salute, the Universal Council.
Thank you, thank you. Invite again many people. Please ask your soul. It's time for come to the serve again. You in the name of your community. Please, thank you so much. Be part of the Universal Council. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, all members and support members of the Universal Council, for today's presentation and for all the work you do in the background and all the work that goes on in dimensions that we can't even imagine yet. And we look forward to another meeting here next week, same time, same place. And this has been the 362nd of a series of shows of the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace here on Tuesday, January 21st, 2025. Our next public teaching workshop will be the Keshe Plasma Reactor Group, which starts on Wednesday at 7 a.m. Central European Time, Wednesday, January 22nd, that is. And that's open to members of the public, young and old. If you're a newcomer or an old timer with the plasma technology, it's all okay and a good place to ask questions and show your latest experiments as well. So we look forward to that. I think that group will see some exciting revelations in this year with different breakthroughs. I think it's a year of breakthroughs in plasma. So stay tuned. We try to tune into the latest technologies in that group as well and let people know what's coming up. So if you like, you can go into that. And also the Knowledge Seekers Workshop, of course, coming up on Thursday, 9 a.m. Central European Time with Mr. Keshe. And people are invited to ask questions in that venue. All right. Well, I think that brings to
Well, there's time for YMCA.
now the most important
Clap,
part of
clap,
the program,
clap, clap, and dance, my dear
the
beautiful
dancing
soul.
part.
Enjoy. Thank you. Thank you.
And if you can't dance physically, well, you can always dance in your head because
Yeah,
dance
of course.
emotions.
With the soul, each other, we can dance together. Thank you.
That's probably how it's done anyways. All right. Well, again, thank you everybody for attending today, and we'll see you in the next public teaching workshop. If not before then, bye for now.